What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lauriello, and today I'm pumped. I'm bringing you guys a episode that I've been trying to get done for several months now. I am so excited to finally bring this one to you all. None other than Kyle Siegel, the CEO and founder of Raide Research, is finally on the Steep Stuff Podcast. Guys, what a cool brand. I feel like Raide is definitely the rookie of the year for 2024 when it comes to the trail running space gear. It has been so exciting to watch their launch and kind of their meteoric rise with the LF2 Leader Belt that Kyle dropped back in August. It was a really exciting episode. We talked about how to bootstrap and found a business like this. We talked about Kyle's background as an aerospace engineer. We talked about sourcing and supply chain and, the ideas and where design came from for a lot of both the skiing aspect of the business as well as his future and plans for the trail running business. Like I said, I love talking to entrepreneurs as I am one myself. And this one really got the gears turning about how to start an outdoor brand and where to take it. And this is just a favorite episode of mine. So guys, hope you enjoyed this one. So excited to finally bring this to you. None other than Kyle Siegel, Raide Research founder and CEO.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Kyle Siegel, welcome to the Steep Stuff Podcast, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Dude, we finally did it. It's been a little bit of a while. It's like 1 week you're on the East Coast or you're on the Front Range. The next week, I'm busy. It's been crazy to put it together, but I'm so happy we were finally able to.
6 months.
Yeah.
6 months of trying to make this happen.
It was like as soon as you put out the belt, I was like, I have to have this guy on the podcast. Like, this is a groundbreaking technology for trail running. So it's pretty dope. If you don't mind, introduce yourself, which you kind of already did, and talk about the company that you have.
Yeah, so my name is Kyle Siegel. I'm the CEO and founder of Raide. And we're building premium equipment and apparel for ski touring and trail running and just generally human-powered movement in the mountains.
Dude, so you put out this belt. When did it go live? It was end of the summer or somewhere in the middle of the summer?
Yeah. It was shipping like mid-August.
Mid-August. Okay, so you put out this, like I said, and I would say groundbreaking because I don't think there's a lot of technology, if any technology, out in trail running right now that's even closely resembling the LF2 Leader Belt that you just put off in August. It's one of the coolest belts, if not the coolest belt I've ever played with. Fortunate enough for you to have hooked me up, and I played with it for a while. So, dude, let's talk about that first, and then we'll talk about the business, how you started it, and we'll get into that. But first, I do want to talk about the belt because the belt is bananas. There's nothing like that on the market, and I love it.
Diving right in.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the belt is like a perfect example of just the product ethos that I have with Raide in general, which is like my background is in engineering. I was an aerospace engineer. I worked at SpaceX, was like my first job in college and out of college. And when you're an engineer, you're always like very problem focused. So everything that Raide does is trying to solve a problem or a set of problems. And when Raide started, it was in ski touring, but I always wanted to solve the problem of being able to carry more while I was running in a stable way. And I always wanted to use running belts as much as possible so that I wouldn't have anything on my chest making me hot and restricting my breathing. But I just felt like all the belts on the market weren't really enabling that to be possible. So I was just like, can I come up with a belt that supports like enough water for like a proper outing in the mountains and stuff beyond water, like snacks, phone, maybe a layer, without bouncing and being comfortable and actually be something I was excited to wear. So I started with a really, really simple and proof of concept, whereas just basically like, is this possible? Can I put more tension and struck like on the back of a belt to make the cargo bounce less? And it obviously wasn't perfect, but it worked. And then I kind of was like really busy. That was like in December of 2023. I was in Vietnam and did the proof of concept at my factory, and then kind of didn't make any progress for 3 months because I was really busy just getting the business off the ground. That was our first winter in business, and then went to Vietnam again in the spring, did like 8 prototypes, ran with like 3 different prototypes every night on the treadmill in my hotel, and landed at the belt.
Wow. And then at what point did you bring like athletes into like the picture to like test it? Was that more like early summer, beginning of summerish?
Yeah, honestly, like most of it, I think there's always like this balance in product development I'm finding, which is like uh you want to like be really true. Like I want to be really true to my vision and like stick with my original vision. And sometimes a lot of other opinions can make it a little bit more cloudy. But, you know, there's some athletes that are absolutely phenomenal at product development.
Yeah.
So it's a balance of both. With this, it was like most of the development was just me, no athlete input. Anton Kripicka had some input sort of right at the end, and then has had input like since the launch. But yeah, most of it was just kind of like off my vision, myself in Vietnam running on the treadmill.
Dude, that's amazing that you were able to put together something so solid just like that. Like I can't wait to see, and I would imagine you're working on future iterations of it as we go. So I can't wait to see like what you even turn this thing into, because it's already great, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty psyched on it. I think like it's not going to change a whole lot. We're restocking I'd call a V1.1 next week.
Okay.
Which just has some very minor tweaks that most people probably wouldn't even notice. Yeah.
Nice. We'll drop this on when you drop it. So
yeah.
We'll get this out to the world. Yeah. Well, dude, let's take it back a little bit, because we'll dive into the belt a little bit later. I couldn't help myself but talk about that. But I want to learn more about like your background, like aerospace engineering, SpaceX, and like that. Like how, like, did you know you wanted to do that from a young age, or like when you got to college? Like obviously you're a pretty math brained human then. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. I was always just like a math guy. I was on the math team in high school and the lacrosse team. So nice, like,
where'd you grow up?
Polar opposites there. I grew up in Evanston, Illinois, which is like a first suburb north of Chicago, where Northwestern is.
Yeah.
Like always was a math guy, knew I wanted to go into engineering. Wasn't really your typical person, like obsessed with engineering. I was just kind of naturally thought that way. I was good at math. And then, happened to just like get into rockets a little bit in some classes, worked at SpaceX through college, after college. After that, I was just like quickly, I was like, oh, I don't want my life to be aerospace engineering. And I bounced back and forth between being a ski bum and being in tech for a little while.
Nice.
Yeah. And then, then I was like, can I combine the two? Like, can I be an engineer and think about skiing all day? And I convinced someone at the North Face to let me get a job there. And that was kind of my big intro into like product development and getting into the product side of sport.
Oh, no. Is that how you met Michelino and like that whole, like any of the trail runners there? Or?
No, actually, my ex-girlfriend went to high school with
Oh,
Michelino.
no shit.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, dude, speaking of the belt, I mean, that's what he used on the Grand Teton effort, which is pretty sick. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I think a huge testament to Raid is like how much of the gear has been used on FKTs and first descents already, like just in 1 year of being in business. Um, when I started Raid, it was very important to me that I supported the progression of the sport. As we get more money, I hope I can do that with like money and sponsorships and like media projects more than just like making product and giving product to support those efforts. But yeah, I mean, Michelino worked so hard at it. I was like so happy for Raid to be a small part of that project for him.
I remember when I asked him, he was on the podcast and I asked him about the belt. I can't remember if this was on the video or not, or I don't think it was. He was playing it. He was being very cagey about it. I was like, "Do you have one yet?" This was like before they were like, I had just gotten mine. He goes,
Yeah.
Maybe." But yeah, no, dude, what a cool product. And just all right. So let's we kind of like addressed where your background is, and I think it's more so like the conceptualization and like starting this business, like starting a business in an already very saturated market. Like I feel like you have to be extremely solutions focused. And it seems like that's the way you've been attacking it, if you will. And it serves a very specific need. Let's talk a little bit about like to start it. Like, how do you even start a business like this? And then like with the marketing, everything, grow this? Like, how did you like, how did you do that, if you will?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, before I touch on that, I think, yeah, you have to be very solutions focused. And it sounds obvious maybe when you hear it, but in reality, like a lot of the outdoor industry is like focused on like categories, price points, and trends. So they're like, oh, like if a retailer is moving a lot of volume at like $150 road shoe, like high cushion road shoe, or like something like that, then a brand might be like, we have to also slot a product in at that category, instead of being like, what is the best high cushion road shoe we could make? What's the cost? Then we price it. And then we try to find retailers that are willing to carry it at that price, which is like this belt. It's a lot more expensive than some of the other belts in the market. So some retailers are like, originally we're like, who's going to buy a $149 running belt? And then once they figured out it actually performed better, they were happy to carry it. But going to your original question, yeah. So like, I pretty much just had like, was a huge and am a huge gear nerd, tried a ton of stuff, and just got to the point with like a ski touring backpack that I was like, I have an idea for a better design and I just like have to make it for myself. And I took sewing lessons to see if I can make one for myself, and I like couldn't even sew a pillowcase. So I was like, all right, this isn't gonna work. And then I like talked to some hobbyist backpack makers, and they were like, maybe we could do it for you, but then it quickly became clear they weren't going to be able to execute my design. And then I was like, okay, I guess I have to do this in Asia. Got in touch with like one of the best backpack factories in the world. And because of like the downturn with COVID, like a lot of brands just overbought when outdoor blew up during COVID, and then they contracted. They had room for me. I got in, spent way more to do a run of backpacks than I thought, but I just like, it was kind of just like, I felt so strong that I needed to do this that I just like didn't care how much money I lost. It's like, I have to bring this into reality. And I was like, I'm either going to sell all these backpacks over like a year or like 4 years or like 8 years, or like I'll figure it out somehow. And I don't really know like what Raide's going to become, but I know I have like, through designing the backpack, I was like, okay, there's actually like this whole area where I felt like product was either like trying to be really lightweight or trying to be like really comfortable and durable. And you like, if you went lightweight, you got people like brands were like, okay, like lightweight equals performance. But you got like a lot of other stuff was sacrificed. Or you could go comfort, durability, and like lose performance because it's heavier. And then I actually like the product I wanted to see in the world was a balance between the two. I actually feel like sometimes you go so light that you end up being slower because of the other compromises the product makes. So I was like, okay, there's actually like 50 products I want to make that I think no one else is making that blend the two. The running belt being a prime example, where like, okay, it's heavier than most running belts, but like with the stability and not having your water bottle bounce around and being able to take more water so you're better hydrated on your run, you're getting performance benefits that way outweigh the extra 40 grams of the belt or 30 grams.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this then, like so I guess it kind of all started with the backcountry skiing aspect of it and like kind of applying that. What was the first product then that you introduced? Was it like a backcountry skiing pack or?
Yeah, so it was a 40-liter backcountry skiing pack where I just tried to combine like every feature that I wanted to see in a ski pack in a really comfortable, durable, aesthetic way. That was still light enough that I was excited to use it on a daily basis.
And how did you launch? Like, you had all this product, I would imagine like, how do you even do that? Like, do you launch the website first and then put in an order through the factory, or like put in an order through the factory and get your inventory? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So I really didn't want to do a Kickstarter, like crowdfunding, because it was really important to me that like Raide put on a very professional, forward-facing product. When I say product, I mean everything, like website, marketing, athlete team from the start. And like I feel like a Kickstarter is like this is maybe a hot take, but I just think it's like kind of a hobbyist, like small time way to start something. Like I don't want to have the customer like taking a risk like you do on a crowdfunding campaign. So the way I did it was like I had the order committed, but I launched the product before the order was shipped to me.
Okay.
So there was like about a month delay between launching and the product shipping. And that just kind of helped. So there was like pre-orders, but not crowdfunded, because regardless of what I got on the pre-orders, like I was committed to getting the product.
Yeah. And can you talk about like the branding aspect of it? Because I think like one of the things you do really well, aside from making an amazing product, like your website is lights out, your Instagram presence is amazing, like your social media, like you do a really good job at everything. And if I was giving awards out, I'd say you guys are like, I'd say rookie of the year in a lot of ways from all the things that you've done so far in this small amount of time. So like, how do you, yeah, like do you have someone like doing your Instagram stuff, or like, is that you, or who's doing that?
I manage like the brand, but I have people that help me like put the assets together that kind of make up the brand. Same with like the website. I like got a guy in India to like code it for like $2,000. And just have been like really scrappy. Yeah, I mean, for me, that's like also a differentiator, right? Like this whole podcast, I've talked about like function, performance, solving problems, but like as me as a customer, it can solve problems for me all day. If the product and the brand is like not aesthetic, like I will never wear it.
Exactly.
I'll never use it. Like I have to look good. It's like that trumps. So like, I think that's one of the things with Raide. I mean, just to be competitive in like the market these days is how much great products is out there, great companies are out there. You have to put everything together.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like everything has to look good and it has to be coupled with a compelling brand.
Yeah. And then on the topic of branding too, I mean, you got two of the best athletes on the running side in the game by picking up, Anton Kripicka, who's a La Sportiva teammate of mine, and then Anna Gibson, who's one of the best in the game right now. Two excellent selections. But I also think from a branding perspective, you've been able to like, from some of your media and like the videos and stuff you put out, like by launching and talking about these athletes and what they're doing in the products, you've been able to tell a really great story with that as well. And I have a feeling I would assume that's probably where you're going further, right? Is like more videos, more content based, more stuff like that of using the products.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge challenge. It's like the big brands are doing an unbelievable job in that realm right now. Like North Face's media projects amazing. Like Arc'teryx's stuff is amazing. Um, and like as a small brand, it's that stuff is so expensive
Yeah.
and really hard to keep up with. Uh, Definitely an area where I hope to grow into, and we're trying to be scrappy and do as much as we can now. Uh, yeah. So, but yeah, it's hopefully, this upcoming year we can do some exciting projects.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's something. The reason I asked that question is because it's something like I wouldn't say struggle with, but it's something that's on front of mind, like as a storyteller and as someone on the podcasting side of, like something I think that like the ultra people do a really good job, whether it's on the racing scene in the ultra or whether it's brand, they do a great job of being able to tell the stories of these athletes. Where I feel like on the sub ultra side, at least on our end, you don't hear as many really good stories being told about sub ultra athletes because it's more performance based in a lot of ways. So I don't know. I was just thinking about it from that perspective too. Like being able to tell the stories of these athletes is inspiring and fun, and it's cool. So
Yeah, I mean, with my ethos on the athlete team, and I feel like I say this and people probably don't know what I mean, is like I want all the athletes to bring like a unique flavor to the sport they're pursuing.
yeah,
And so like I think Anna is amazing because she's like this super well-rounded athlete who like competes in track and trail and like skis super hard and grew up in Jackson. And then like Anton, is running far distances and competing in ultras, but like scrambling and climbing and running a lot and biking a lot. And, on the ski side, everyone reflects that too. We have guides and we have, people that are ski touring, but identify more with the freestyle side of the sport, or people that are doing really technical ski mountaineering, or people that might just like skiing powder, or maybe the unique flavor they're bringing to the sport is on the media side or their community that they're like connected with. But I always say like boring is boring, and like it's not all about performance. It's just like about the full picture that athlete is like bringing to the sport, is like, and having it be unique, and like someone who has that strong point of view is like what's exciting to me.
yeah.
And so like those stories are easy to tell, which is nice.
That's true too. Dude, one of the things that caught my eye, it's very interesting because you are one of the few brands outside of maybe Arc'teryx that I've noticed that sponsors guides. I don't see too many brands do that. Can you talk, like, is that like something that you've made a point of doing, or was it something that's a little more organic?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we launched with guides on the team. I mean, they're like the foundation of sport for ski touring. They're out the most. They're progressing the sport they're progressing the sport on a personal level. They're also progressing the sport by educating everyone out there. And for like, that's something that I want to support.
Yeah. No, I love
that.
They
also like, you can't pay a guide any amount of money to use it. All my athletes, like you can't pay them any amount of money to use something they don't love. But the guides are like so picky.
Yeah. Oh, I bet, dude.
Yeah.
Because they're out there doing it. I mean, it's different from an athlete's perspective. Even though they are athletes, it's just it's different. It's a little bit different of a game. That's very interesting. Yeah. What is like? I know you kind of touched on the selection criteria. Are you building out more of the run team? I'm sure there's a lot of like sub ultra athletes that listen to this, so I'm sure your DMs might get a little filled after this.
I am trying to expand the run team. Honestly, on the run side, the whole sponsorship environment is a lot harder to navigate than the skiing side, because there's so many athletes that are sponsored head to toe.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a challenge. So yeah, people are welcome to reach out if they're listening and they feel like they're bringing a unique flavor to running. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, so
there you go.
Yeah.
You heard it first. So, dude, I want to bounce back a little bit off the athletes and go back towards one of the things that you hit on, which was being able to get in contact and find like a contact in Vietnam for supply chain. How were you able to do that? Would you like know somebody like that was able to like get you in contact? I've just always been curious.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'd say it was like, yeah, the timing helped a lot. And then like from my experience at the North Face, I kind of knew who to contact.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, what do you got planned for the future, man? Like, what do you like? Can you tease anything that you've got coming down the line? I know you kind of hinted on some slight improvements to the belt for the next version or something like that, but like any other things that you see needs for that you're kind of tackling at the moment?
Yeah. So the version that's coming out, like when this podcast airs, or maybe that it'll have come out before this already airs, like those have some minor tweaks on like, you'd have to be a pretty discerning person to see the differences. I think like the LF2 leader won't change immensely over the next, 2 years. I'm working on a running vest.
Oh, wow.
We'll see. I mean, for me, like I've bootstrapped the business and I don't need to take a risk on like spending money on product unless I think it's like unique and is, in my opinion, the best in the market.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'm working on a vest. I'll only release it if I think it's the best. So I don't know if that's going to happen yet. I leave for Vietnam in 3 days, and that'll be one of my main focuses. I'm working on a running short that I'm extremely excited about.
Oh, apparel. All right.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting is you talk to a runner, you ask anyone, like, what's your favorite shoe? They're going to have an answer for you in like 5 seconds, like very little hesitation. When you ask them, like, what's their favorite short, which I'd say is like maybe you ought to run, you pretty much only need shoes and shorts. I guess you don't really need shoes, but most people do. And so like, the fact that like when you ask someone what their favorite short is, and like everyone I've talked to like hesitates, they're like, I've tried these, I kind of like this one, I don't love it. And I felt the same way. Made me want to tackle a short. I still think no one's actually nailed carrying anything in a short, even your phone. Like there's not a short on the market I'm excited to put my phone in.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there will be tons of listeners that feel differently.
I don't know, man. I really agree with you. I think the short hasn't been, I think the t-shirt hasn't really been nailed either. And the reason I say that is because there's only ever been one company that like makes a t-shirt that I absolutely love, and they don't even make it anymore. Black Diamond used to make the Rhythm tee, which was like a mixture of like a merino wool with it's called New Yarn, which is one of the technologies they use.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Best running shirt I've ever used, and I literally bought like 10 of them because I figured they would discontinue them, which they did. But yeah, and I don't think anyone's made anything like that good since. So there's another thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited about the running short I'm working on. I hope that's ready to launch late summer.
Okay.
And then I'm working on a lightweight running belt. Like for me, I think you have some people that like work for brands and they're like, I always have to use what my brand makes. And for me, I think it's really important as like a product designer that I always use whatever I want to gravitate to the most for that specific outing. And like right now, sometimes there's like short runs that like, I'll be honest, the LF2 leader feels like overkill for. Maybe you're only bringing your phone, or you're bringing your phone in like a small bottle, or a phone and a couple gels. And I'm very happy using the LF2 leader for a lot of those, but like sometimes it's just not, you don't need the structure and a little of that it brings. And so I'm excited about, and I think we'll launch this. I'm not, again, like it needs to get to the point where like, I think it's the best on the market for me to launch it. But like, just a lighter weight belt that still has a no bounce story, and solves problems, but maybe is something you'd be more excited about taking for like a 4 to 5 mile outing versus a 8 to 12 mile outing.
Are you familiar with like VKs and like the Cirque Series races?
Yes, I ran I ran a Cirque series at
Oh, did you do A Basin? Yeah.
Summer.
All right. So there's your inspiration right there. Because this was something I was actually going to mention to you was like, yes, like the LF2 leader is perfect for like that, anything really over that 10K distance, half marathon, whatever. But like, I almost think of it as like, there's a need there. I think a lot of people would agree with this with some sort of sub ultra belt that just does not bounce, will hold your bottle, and and a zipper, like a zipper, so I don't lose my keys because I've lost many pairs of keys.
Yeah.
But like something like that, right, where you could like take it on a Cirque Series race and it won't feel too big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think like the LF2 leader, like definitely, I think it's like really at home. It obviously depends on how fast you are and how much like fuel and water you need, but I think it's like really at home in the 7 to 16 mile range.
Yeah.
And if you're going on a trail run, if you're racing that, like I think, I mean, there have been people that have taken it on 100 milers. Like if you have aid stations, you can use the belt all day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that sub, 7-8 mile area, like those Cirque races where maybe you like have a small water bottle or like you're just depending on aid stations, there's room for a lightweight belt. And personally, when I go run around the neighborhood, I use something sometimes. I'll use a competitor product. People can probably guess what it is. But I think there's room for improvement there.
Interesting. Yeah, I have an idea what you're saying there. It's got to either be what, Ultimate Direction or Naked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, dude, I don't know. And I'd be really curious because I know, like I said, you kind of dropped the product. It was like late summer last year. So I'd be really curious to see it on the waist of people. I think even in like the 100-mile distances. Like I wouldn't be surprised if you see them on a few live streams this year with people wearing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people raced Javelina in it.
Yeah.
Especially with how hot that race is. Definitely a lot of people, racing a lot of 100 milers. We definitely, get a lot of customers asking about 50 milers to 100 milers. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm so psyched that like Raide can be a part of those days.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a great product. And dude, one of the things I really liked was the HydroPack bottle that you used on it. Like that was very unique. I've never seen another HydroPack bottle like that with like the way the top was or whatever. Maybe I just haven't been caught up with HydroPack, but like the little twisty top with it's like a special. It's just different. It's unique and it's bigger than your normal HydroPack bottle. So
yeah, so I felt like there were so many runs where I was like caught in between a belt and a vest, where I was like, okay, like I kind of want a little bit more than 500 milliliters, but I really don't need to take a liter. I really don't want to take my running vest. And so I worked with HydroPack to make that. I tried some different volumes, landed on the 650 ml bottle. And then, running belts like need to come with a lock and cap bottle. And there are a lot of belts that don't come with a bottle. And then there are belts that come with bottles that don't have locking caps. They just end up causing more problems and leak. I think like you see so many people out like on runs, even in cities where they're using a vest. And I'm just like, I wish you guys could try a belt. And I think people have tried belts. And then when a brand isn't delivering like a complete solution, that it doesn't work for the customer, they end up having to go elsewhere. So I feel like there are a lot of people that have tried like some of the lower end belts, it didn't work, and then went back to vests. And I hope they can come back and try a Raide belt.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. The lockdown feature that you have for the ice axe, did you come up with that or was that an Anton thing?
I'd say like the design worked well with an axe. I wanted the belt to hold an axe well. Because of Anton. And then we also have this athlete on the team who's local to Carbondale, where I live, named Paul Davis.
Yeah.
Who is similar style to Anton, does a lot of alpine running, brings an axe with him. And he actually figured out that carrying method with a prototype. But I think good design ends up like working for a lot of different applications. And
That's the only belt that can carry an ice axe. I don't think there's any other thing on the market that can do that. Like, then lock it down at least.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's crazy. Let me ask you this: is it Dynamia that's the outside of it, or what is that? Is it like
Yeah. So like Dyneema is the brand name for a material called ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, which people abbreviate UHMWPE.
Okay.
And it's a yarn that has some of the best strength to weight ratio of any yarn. So the belt, when you look at it, it's like black and has a white ripstop pattern. The white ripstop is UHMWPE. It's not brand name Dyneema. So it's like tissue versus Kleenex.
Yeah.
Like Kleenex is a name brand tissue. Dyneema is like the most popularized name brand. I'm getting into the weeds here, but yeah, the most popularized name brand UHMWPE, because they're the ones that invented it and patented it, but now their patent like expires. So there's tons of different
Gotcha. So you can get it on the market.
UHMWPE, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, that actually answers a lot of questions for me because I'll see hats made of it every now and then. And I know like Satisfied and like what is that? Norda will put out a lot of different stuff and like their shoes and made out of it. But that's cool because this thing will last forever. Then, like, I don't think you can really rip one of these or destroy it.
I'm sure people will. We haven't had anyone. We had one person rip the fabric. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not sure how that happened. I think that's something really sharp inside, but I think that's pretty darn good for how many are out in the world. Yeah,
that's true.
But yeah, they last long. I think a lot of people have had experience with other belts where they kind of like sag out over time and kind of deteriorate over like 2 summers. And yeah, I've been using for durability testing. I haven't ever upgraded my belt. I still use the same belt that was like the 4th prototype version, and I've probably taken it on, like 150 runs.
Oh man,
at least so far. Yeah.
Let me talk to you about color. I know I can remember Anton was photographed with like this badass like color wheel that he had on his.
Yeah.
Is there any chance we're gonna get some new colors in these?
We're gonna get colors.
Okay. Oh man.
Yeah. The funny thing with Anton's is there just happened to be sample fabric in that color that was available before I was able to get the black.
Gotcha.
So it just happened to be, he was in a yellow, just happened to be in that yellow. And people loved it, which was great feedback. It's not something,
I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I saw him post that, I'm not gonna lie to you, I saved it. Like I saved that post and like, because tons of people were asking. This is before like any idea that it was coming out. Tons of people were asking in the comments, like, what is this? And like, when is that belt coming out?
Yeah.
Because it was just like this iconic photograph of him running in the Alpine with an ice axe on it. It was sick. Yeah.
It was, and I think like it was completely unintentional that it was yellow, but it ended up being so beneficial because if it was black, people would have just assumed it was like the same belt he's been wearing for years. But since it was yellow, it stood out and people asked about it.
Yeah. Super cool. Well, dude, on the topic of like, now you're kind of embedded as a business, like in the ski community and the run community, like it's 2 very different types of businesses. Like, what has that been like, not just like building a team, but like, what has that been like trying to break more into running versus skiing, skiing first versus running? Like, is one a harder market to penetrate, or has it been pretty smooth so far?
Running's way harder.
Is it really?
In my opinion. Yeah. With running, there's just so much new stuff coming out. There's so much more noise. There's so many brands like innovating at an unbelievably high level. And I feel like there's a pretty exciting new product like every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In skiing, and it's like, so it's easier to, or it's harder to like capture people's attention on product. In skiing, there are a lot of brands doing a lot of amazing things. I don't think it's at the pace that running's at right now. And it's just smaller. Like it's easier to reach a higher percentage of like your potential ski customers than it is run customers. So yeah, I'm really excited about like, I think so many people, I mean, yeah, tons of people in running have not heard about Raid.
Yeah.
I think we'll try to be at a lot of different events.
That's kind of where I was going.
Races and try to get the word out more for sure.
Do you think more straight up Colorado? Do you think you'll sponsor any events this year, or do you think you'll just kind of maybe like just pop up and get some tents out there?
Yeah, I don't think we'll sponsor any events. I think we'll show up. We'll be like maybe an official vendor at a couple. Yeah, we don't have the money to be a sponsor yet.
Okay.
And yeah, just trying to like connect with the community, be at like some grassroots races, be at some big ones.
Yeah, dude.
See how things go. Yeah.
You got to pop up at like Broken Arrow and start like, like telling people.
We'll be at Broken Arrow.
Hell yeah.
We'll for sure be at Broken Arrow.
Nice.
I've never been to Western States. I've actually never, I historically haven't raced a ton. And I didn't run until like 4 years ago. I wouldn't say I seriously ran until 2 or 3 years ago. And then I just started racing a little bit more last season. I ran a lot, but I didn't race, and I raced my first 50K last season. So yeah, I'm excited to go to Broken Arrow. I'm excited to go to UTMB.
Oh shit, dude. UTMB.
I've been to UTMB. Excited to go to Western States. Just like feel like I've heard so much that the energy is like amazing and the community is amazing. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, the energy is crazy, and I don't know. I just think that's like such a great, just because especially like the LF2 Leader is such a rangy product. Like you could get this into the hands of like a 100-mile runner, and you can also get it into the hands of like your, potentially your VK runner, because they can lock down their poles on the back of this.
Yeah,
so it's just like there's a lot of range to it, where you can get this in people's hands, which would be dope.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Yeah, man. Western States will be fun. I'll see you at Broken Arrow. I'll probably be out there. Yeah, we'll be doing some coverage and stuff like that for it's going to be like the craziest weekend in the sport like ever, man. I mean, between like Worlds qualifiers and a Golden Trail Series race, and then like Western States is the week after, like it's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be wild.
UTMB is cool too, because of that European market. Like, are you seeing like it pick up in Europe at all, or is it mostly like American based, or like what do you see?
Yeah, that'll be a big focus for me in 2025 is just trying to make Raide more accessible in Europe. We get a decent amount of people buying our products from Europe. They have to pay. It obviously costs more money to ship there, and there's like duty fees, and so like we'll be expanding the retail footprint, and then also working on potentially getting a warehouse in Europe. I'm not really sure what the timing will be. Hopefully by the end of 2025, we'll have one. So it's just a little bit easier for people in Europe to purchase Raide products.
Nice, man. I can't wait to see it grow. Like that's going to be the cool thing, is like you've got, especially, even in Europe too, from like the skiing perspective, like those people they take their skiing pretty seriously over there. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
On one more question related to skiing too, like with skimo in the Olympics and skimo just growing so much as a sport, have you identified like any needs possibly like on the skimo side that you think like for super light stuff, or not that you would?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about. Yeah, I think Raide will do a skimo pack eventually. I think like, again, like my product ethos is like finding the balance, not necessarily being on the extremes of like the product spectrum, and like skimo, especially like Olympic level skimo, is at the extreme.
Yeah.
And I do want to support that, but I think like, like an example is all of our ski packs have like back panel access, because if you're like out skiing, you always get access to everything in your backpack when you have back panel access, because it's never blocked by your skis. Mm-hmm. But that's not something like a skimo racer like never takes their backpack off there.
Right.
Ever.
It's just gonna have to be.
So it's just like,
wrong, yeah.
Is that where I want to spend my time right now? Because it's like so just like not extremely applicable to not even just the everyday skier, but even really high level backcountry skiers and ski mountaineers, you're still taking your pack off.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, man, it's interesting, and I've gotten so many mixed emotions from people with skimo in the Olympics now because there's no like vertical; it's just sprint and relay, which makes it kind of awkward, and
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's more so the passion of like I don't know those like Pyramenta races and things like that are I feel like that's more of people that could be captured on that end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really excited in general by like I live near Aspen. You see so many people ski like uphilling for fitness. I saw like Diplo was out here and he skinned up Snowmass and had it on his Instagram. And I was like, whoa, like has ski touring made it now? Like it's on Diplo's Instagram. So that was pretty cool.
That's crazy, dude. I had no idea. I knew he like started a run club, but I didn't know he went as far as like ski touring. What the hell?
Yeah, I think it was his first time, but it's just like so cool that he at least like knew about it, was down to try it, like posted a video about it. Yeah, it was awesome.
It's mainstream, man. How do you like living in Carbondale?
I think I've actually more mixed opinions than most people that live here. Most people that live here like absolutely love it. I like always have the push pull of like I love being in the mountains, love skiing, but I do think it's really important to be like in cities to, especially when you're building a brand and building a company, just to be like at the forefront of like taste and culture. And you like lose some of that when you're in the mountains. But I think Aspen, the reason I live here is because I think Aspen has the best ski quality to lines and crowds ratio in the country.
It's probably true. Yeah.
While not being unbelievably far from an airport. And also like, yeah, the running and the alpine is amazing here. The summers are super fun.
Yeah, dude, the Elks are off the chain. My aunt and uncle live in Carbondale, so I go up there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while. Since like June, but every now and then I pop on over. Haven't done Sopris yet. It's on my list. But like there's stuff to do. Like it is a fun town. Like there's good community there, solid running community. You guys have what? TJ David and Jeff Cold over there.
Yeah. And like the Gaston brothers are like super high level endurance athletes. And there's a lot of really high level runners and skiers. And obviously Aspen gets the reputation of the rich and famous, but there's like an awesome endurance community here.
Yeah. No, it's
pressures for sure. Yeah.
It's cool. I think I'm going to come out and do, what is that race? America's Uphill or something like that, or something like that. It's a running / ski race that's up the line in Aspen. It's like the VK, if you will. It's like in March.
Do
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Let me know when you're here.
Absolutely, dude. We'll have to definitely have to catch up. All right, man. So we're not quite at an hour, but do you have anything else you think we didn't hit on, or?
I mean, I'm happy to go more into the weeds on like the business, like financing it.
Oh, dude, let's do that. Yeah.
That sort of stuff.
I'm always like reluctant to pry. So
yeah, I'm happy to like go way more into depth on like the product development process, testing, like any of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. So let's get into the financing. So like my background's corporate finance, so I'm always interested in like how you bootstrap and fund a business like this. Like, did you take on debt to like start this thing, or did you self-fund? Like, what did you do to get this thing started?
Yeah, it was a mix of like self-funding, a mix of like strategic pre-ordering. So like, yeah, being able to take orders a month before, like I said, like a month before the product shipped allowed me to like get some revenue before I had to pay the factory. You have to pay like some upfront and some when the product ships. We had like small investor help out in the beginning, and then now I'm like potentially taking on some more investors just to help me hire and like scale.
Is it just you or?
Yeah, it's just me at the moment.
Okay.
And then I use debt. I like all of my savings are on the line with Raide. It's really the nitty gritty. I think it's like funny. Like you see people go on the Shark Tank and like they say that, and like Mark Cuban's like, "Oh no, like what are you doing?" And
I think it's the only way to make it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I believe in Raide enough that like I'm willing to risk it for the biscuits. So yeah, like all my savings in my house are like collateral for a loan that I used to fund Raide for this season, and that allowed me to not take on investors and to control the business. I mean, one thing that's really important to me is like I want to make sure that no one is ever brought into the company that's going to try to force me to turn Raide into something that it isn't.
Right.
And I think, you know, like the power of Raide is like I'm building product for like the core athlete. Like I'm not building streetwear, and like I'm not chasing, you know, like trends. I'm building good looking, functional, and performing products for the people that live and breathe moving in the mountains.
I know it's hard to kind of get an idea of forecasting just because you're 1 year into this, but like, are you potentially going to be approaching like your REIs of the world to like get product in there? Or is it like still want to keep it small? Like, what's your thoughts on that, like long term?
Yeah, well, it's a little different for skiing and running. I mean, like I want to like meet the customer where they are, and it's really like figuring out where is the customer, like is my customer shopping at REI?
Probably not.
I don't know.
Maybe the
you know,
runner.
like I'm willing to try and see. I think it's interesting. I mean, I think for running probably more so than skiing, but like, you know, they reached out, like they have a ski pack they're looking at and trying to decide if they're bringing it in for next year. And yeah, so I think as long as like a shop is like serious about doing right by Raide and equipped to like tell the story of the product, explaining to the customer like why a Raide product is priced, why it's priced, and you know they can buy the $50 or the lower price point product, but then in 2 years they're probably going to come back for the Raide product, or they're just going to just buy the Raide product now. Like if the shop can tell that story, you know, I'm open to being there for sure.
Cool. Do you?
And yeah, I think like retail and running is crushing. Like obviously people want to try on running shoes, and like I want to be there for them to check out the belt. And we're in some stores so far, and definitely will be growing that this year.
Yeah. Are you guys in Colorado Running Company yet? These things would
we
sell.
are not.
Yeah.
Where is that?
It's in Colorado Springs. Let me know if you want me to get
No,
them.
we're not in Colorado Running Company. We are not in any shops in Colorado Springs right now.
Oh, dude, you gotta get that out there. Because
there are a lot of stores we need to be in for running. So any shops are listening, reach out. Yeah, it's a whole different ball game than on the ski side.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like I said, those in the know and a good amount of people have seen the product, but I think a lot of people still have not seen it. And I think that's the big thing, is getting it on. If you just get it in the hands of someone to be able to see it, like it's very obvious as to why they should carry that product or purchase it, you know? So it just makes sense. Did you go to the running event this year, or is that something that's
I did. Yeah, I did.
What'd you think of that? Like, was that beneficial at all, or?
You know, it was, I thought it was amazing. I'll say that. Like, it's the shining light of outdoor trade shows at the moment, because I also went to a ski one 2 weeks after, and it was a different picture. But it wasn't, I think for a brand, I didn't put the work in up front to like get in touch with enough people at the show. And it was like, you know, tough for a brand at Raide size. You get like a booth that's maybe not in the best location. It was great to be there. I mean, I think my time is just better spent like going to shops in person and connecting with the staff there.
Yeah.
Rather than being at a trade show. Right now, like I don't necessarily have time to do both. So we'll see if we go. Maybe we'll skip a year. TBD. The other thing that's hard for me is like my product development timeline is like way faster than other brands. So I don't necessarily have product ready like a year out that I'm like able to send out to like PR and shops and like let them try it and then put orders in, or like go to a trade show in November that's like has product for this summer. It's like, I'm going to Vietnam, on Saturday. I'm going to like develop the vest over the next 6 months and then like maybe roll it out in August. And then, but shops are buying in November for this summer. So,
Gotcha.
So I think eventually we'll get on that timeline, but it's also like nice to just be way more agile as a small company.
Yeah. No, it's interesting you say that, because I had a similar conversation. Obviously Normal is a huge brand right now, but they're not quite as big as your North Face and stuff like that. But I had Ambrose, Mike Ambrose I had on the podcast, and he's the Normal guy for the US. And he was just talking about like shoe development and how they are able to be much more agile, and that he says that helps them a lot. But I didn't realize, really take into accountability, when it comes to like a buyer, how that kind of changes the calculus a little bit. For that,
I think one of my main learnings is, like if you really, really want to go big, like you kind of do need to be on that product timeline that the big stores are on. But like, if you just build a great product, like the right stores are in tune with the market enough that like they'll reach out, and they're always willing to accept like a great product.
For sure.
The REIs of the world, like, no, like you need to be like a year out, but like the San Francisco running companies of the world, like, I was in San Francisco for a wedding and I ran the Marin Headlands 50K and just went to San Francisco Running Company, talked to the owner, and they've been like he took us in immediately, and, the belt's been extremely successful there. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I got to get you hooked up with the Colorado Running Company. Like there's no reason why that belt should not be sold there. Like that, I could see that being a huge thing. So
yeah, definitely. We'll take you up on that.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, we're at about 3:10 now. We're pretty close to that. So let's, I'll give you back some of your time. I know you've got some plans this afternoon.
Yeah.
I'll let you do that. Dude, thank you so much. I hope this is the first of many conversations. I think as new iterations of the product come out, we should definitely have more conversations when you do start doing more launches and stuff like that. Get these out to the world and have more conversations around the design and discussion on
That'd be awesome. Yeah. I think if the vest and short come out this summer, that'd be amazing.
Absolutely. And we do the next one, we could do video, or we'll do it in person in video. So that way we can actually have the product in hand and talk about it and stuff like that.
Maybe a Broken Arrow live.
That'd be sick. Yeah. If you happen to have like protos with you and if you're at Broken Arrow,
I'll try.
Yeah. Let's hang out. It'll be fun.
The running short's going to be crazy. I'm going to be secretive. We'll
don't give it away.
For sure.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, all right. I'm going to stop the recording now. Dude, thank you so much.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
It's great timing. Great to chat.
What'd you guys think? Oh man, what an exciting episode. Kyle's a great dude, and it was just really fun getting to chat with him and learn more about Raide. The why behind why he started the business, kind of the needs. I always find it really interesting when people put out products, and sometimes people put out products just for the sake of it. But I love Kyle's solution-driven approach to where this product itself. So, for instance, take the LF2 Leader Belt. Everything that he has put out is designed in solution format. So it's to provide a solution to a problem, right? A no balance belt that can take on a whole bunch of different things in the backcountry. You can, hold 2 bottles of water, do all these different things. Same with his backpacks that he puts out for the ski touring world. It's just really exciting products and really interesting things. So I definitely, like I said, this was, in my opinion, Raide was the rookie of the year when it came to just products in the trail running space. And I would look to them to be an industry leader in the future as Kyle continues to just innovate and do exciting things in the space. So Guys, let's show Raide some support. If you wouldn't mind, hop on Instagram and give them a follow. That's going to be at raide.research. It's RAIDE.research on Instagram. That's going to be their handle. Send them a DM. Slide into Kyle's DMs and let them know what you guys thought about the episode. Send some support. And then in addition, if you want to show some support, hop on and purchase a belt, or if you're in the ski industry and you're looking for a really good ski touring backpack, check out some of his backpacks. I think he put out some ski touring pants as well. But I think the star of the show in the trail running space is definitely going to be that LF2 Leader Belt. Please check that out. It has become one of my go-to in the space for any long days. I'm just not a pack guy. It's really hard to get me. I'm never sighted in a pack because I don't really wear them. Big time belt guy. Love the belts. And I definitely think you guys would get a kick out of checking out some of the belts. It's the one and only belt you ever need to buy. You're not going to need two. And this one will last you for a lifetime. So definitely check it out. That's going to be at raide.research and /raideresearch.com. Guys, that's all I got for you. Keep a lookout for Friday's episode. It's going to be another fun one with none other than professional North Face trail runner Ruby Lindquist, the pride of Alaska. Really fun conversation I had with her. So keep a lookout. Hope you guys enjoy and have a great rest of your week. And thanks so much for tuning in.